Hey gang, Matt from Easy Breakouts, about to start another current market trend review, but before I do, just wanted to mention that if you find this video helpful, be sure to click on that subscribe button down below. Also, you can view additional videos by visiting our YouTube channel. Alright, let's hop into our analysis. So folks, kind of a mixed market here today. We saw the Dow, the S&P, and the Russell all backing off. The Nasdaq was positive. So kind of a flip-flop of some of the earlier action we were seeing over the past couple of weeks, and that was a weaker Nasdaq, stronger Russell and Dow. We saw the crude inventories coming out today that provided a nice little pop to the crude contract. Gold getting bid above some of the prior resistance levels we looked at on our prior market trend review video, and the bonds caught a nice bid as well, coming off of some support levels. So we'll see all of this in the charts, but as always, we're starting off with the S&P 500s. So folks, we've been taking a look at this upper end of the range here, right around the 2275s. One of the things I had mentioned on our prior market trend review video is as we approach this level, coming straight off the bottom like we did after the beginning of the new year, what I had mentioned is it wouldn't surprise me for us to go sideways here for a day or two before attempting any sort of a breakout, and that's exactly what happened today. We only closed down about a point and a half, point and three quarters, and so very flat close on the S&Ps, and now this puts us in a position where coming into Friday morning with non-farm payrolls coming out, this potentially could set us up for a nice little breakout. You can see that we've got the resistance up top here, and we've just basically put in like a little bit of a handle, a little bit of a consolidation on Thursday's trade. That potentially could set us up for a pop here. You're going to have to watch how the pre-markets trade with those non-farm payrolls coming up at 8:30 Eastern. So keep that in mind. And as always, the places to watch on the bottom side of things are going to be like these 2230s right here, those prior lows. And then ultimately the place I'm watching for in terms of like a health of the rally is going to be those 2215s. That's an area, if you look at the daily charts, that would signify really the longer term breakout here that was forming since July through October and November. So keep an eye on those different levels. In terms of the Nasdaq, so folks, taking a look at this, we're getting very close to new all-time highs on the Nasdaq. Here we are, right? We're getting right up to the top of this, very close to the 5,500 whole numbers. And if you take a look at this, right, this is what we're kind of knocking on. So we saw that rejection up and over the 5,500s 2 weeks ago, now coming right back at it. So again, you can see the Nasdaq, very similar situation, right? Like kind of coiling up, putting a little bit of a handle in on Thursday, getting ready for potential economic news that could pop us up and over these 5,500s. I think that would be a positive development for the Nasdaq. One of the things we mentioned on prior videos is that, we've been seeing like the Facebooks and the Amazons kind of lagging behind, and that I think has capped out a lot of the momentum in the Nasdaq. But look at some of these bear cap names coming off the bottom, right? Very clear area of support here. There's 1, 2, 3 times that the stock has come down to those levels and found some buyers. Now it's starting to lift, starting to get above some of the moving averages. I think Facebook above like these 122s would provide even further boost to the Nasdaq. We saw something similar with like the Amazon here. Okay, Amazon, if it can get through like these 190s or so, I'm sorry, the 790s, I think that would give an added boost. Look at the volume starting to come into Amazon. So folks, as we're starting to see these larger cap tech stocks starting to perk up, we are seeing the Nasdaq starting to reclaim some of the relative strength, some of the leadership that it lost over the last couple of months. By the way, we were also mentioning Netflix. Keep an eye on Netflix, kind of a cult stock. That broke out over the last couple of days. We've been watching that as well. And we'll take a look at some other stocks that we actually traded here today and over the prior days. So that being said, let's move over to the crude. The crude had a nice move higher. That's been creeping higher. So we got up all the way up into almost the 54 evens here. Taking a look at the intradays, we got up right to those 54s after a failed breakout right around the 54.50s. We'll be looking for a continuation up into those highs of the 55.20s. Taking a look at the gold caught a pop right above some of these prior resistance areas we were looking at. So at this point, I'm kind of looking at gold. This looks like an attempt up at the 1200s. I would expect that some resistance, some sellers might start coming in at the 1200s just because of how that formed in terms of prior support, and then that support was breached. And then finally, we saw the bonds here catching a nice pop off of these support levels. Again, after such a big sell-off here, one of the things I've been mentioning in many of these videos, these prior videos, is that it wouldn't surprise me to catch some kind of a bounce and backing and filling in this area because of how far and how fast we had sold off right into a support level. So for the next few weeks and months, I would expect some kind of a balance to build on these areas. And
if the Fed continues on any sort of a rate hike action plan, any sort of trade below these 123s would be basically the market anticipating further rate hikes, further inflationary environment. Now, as we take a look at the equities, a couple of stocks that we had mentioned yesterday continue their moves. The ANET had a nice move higher today. Remember, we took those right over the 99 evens, really great breakout. But another stock that we actually took yesterday and it had a huge move today was this SHOP, Shopify. We actually had put this on our swing trading list. We had notified our members here that we had taken this trade. But one of the reasons we were looking at around this 45 area is you can see there was these prior highs right at this level, right? So 45 is kind of an area of resistance. Some sellers or supply was forming up at those areas, and what we saw is that there was a bit of a handle that formed in this area. We saw the volume starting to perk up yesterday. In fact, you can kind of see what happened here, right? So right over these levels on Thursday, that's where we took the trade, and then today, earlier today, we were up positive, and it capped out right at the 45s, kind of backed off, and then there was news announcement coming in, some kind of potential partnership with Amazon, and Shopify just went through the roof, triggering a lot of our profit targets. But here's the main thing, right? You might look at this and say, well, potentially you got lucky with news events. But one of the things you'll find is when you look at stocks and you find that there's a series of prior highs or a series of resistance levels that the stock can't get through, and then all of a sudden you start to notice a lift or a bid coming into the market or the stock, and it brings it right up to these prior highs, that's an indication that buyers are in demand for the shares. They're pushing the prices higher. They might know something that we don't know, and they're slowly acquiring a position, and that is evident in the chart. So when you see these coming up to these prior highs, that's where we need to pay attention to. And by the way, this is totally in alignment with everything that we do in Easy Breakouts, right? Looking for the very best stocks with the very best relative strength, breaking out of recognizable chart patterns and on volume. And volume came in a big way today. Look at that volume here on Shopify. This was almost 510% above average volume, and this normally trades about 800,000 shares a day. This cleared almost 5 million shares today. So again, this is one of those things where you have to watch these chart patterns, look for the stocks that have great relative strength, and continue running your screens for new ideas. So that being said, folks, again, just want to mention that there's a lot of new ideas out there, almost like overnight, just as I mentioned on the prior market trend reviews. Overnight, it seems like a lot of stocks have just set up, put in little, short handles, and now are starting to break out on volume. You're just seeing across the board nice follow-throughs. Here's another example of a stock that was on our prior daily stock picks, MB, MindBody, breaking out big volume, nice continuation of this, and that should start to give you a clue that the market is now supportive of these breakouts, that they're breaking out on big volume, and these are the ones with the high relative strength, up at 5-year or all-time highs. Okay, that's where you want to focus your time and your effort. But folks, aside from that, have a great trading day ahead, and join us for our next market trend review. Hey, by the way, if you haven't done so already and you're liking the analysis, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. And as a reminder, you can also view additional videos by visiting our YouTube channel. Or if you'd like to find out more about Easy Breakouts, go ahead and click that Show More right above the comments section to find out more about Easy Breakouts. But other than that, have a great trading day ahead, and may the trend be with you. Take care, everyone.